Hey everyone, I am Dr. Lisa Holland, and I am here right now with one of my yoga club students who's brand new really to yoga. And she's been coming to my home studio now. What is this? Which is your
About 5 weeks.
5 weeks or
5 weeks
so?
now.
I'm playing with the lights here because it's not so great for us. And I just wanted to talk a little bit because her transformation, I think, is an important one in terms of people who are a little concerned. First of all, you guys know that I'm always saying you got to find the right teacher, you got to find the right yoga. Yoga is wonderful, but when it's like everything else, when it's the wrong thing, the wrong speed, the wrong time in your life, the wrong receptivity, it in and of itself is not a magic cure. But when it's the right, when you hear it, when you're working with the right person, it can be very effective very quickly, because it is working with the mind and the body and whatever. And I asked Alicia to just, I don't know, just like she's just such a wonderful example of what that can be. And tell us a little bit, if you want to share, what you feel comfortable sharing, sort of uh, a little bit like when we had our first conversation
Okay.
and kind of what brought you over to yoga club. I'll hold it, so you don't
Okay.
have to worry about it.
Okay. Well, for me, the thing that brought me over to Yoga Club is that it spoke to me. It talked about, if you're going through menopause, if you've just been out of shape or you've just not been feeling your true self, and you just want to make a change. And so, I reached out to you and then we had our counseling session. We did a little consult over the telephone and it just spoke volumes to me. It just was a chance to try to do something about facing menopause in a more natural way versus taking hormone patches. Now, I still do my patches for right now,
Mm-hmm.
but the goal is to eventually feel better without having to do them. But so
Right.
so far it's been really good.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and and the impetus for yoga club right now at my home studio is because I knew there was pockets of people that
Hmm.
could benefit from yoga, but the traditional work in like a traditional studio, I think, is somewhat
Hmm.
limited because there's a little bit. I mean, I know that there were some studios here in Charlotte, and I'm not necessarily saying it's just Charlotte, but I know it took me a while to decide like what studio. I mean, I still kind of
Hmm.
don't practice in the studios. Not that there's anything wrong with studios, but for me, it's not my style. My yoga practice, which I'm teaching you guys, the Belly Guru yoga training system, is very much influenced by personal development. Very much, obviously, I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I've got that background. Also, reading people, communication
Hmm.
styles, a lot of interpersonal communication, and honestly, a classical yoga class.
Hmm.
Is this, how is this class with me different than anything, or like what had you tried before with yoga? Had you been to
Well,
classes?
yeah, I've done a couple of times like where you go to a gym and then they offer a yoga class. And what I find is that the intimate one-on-one is not necessarily, they can come check by on you and see if you're doing okay, but there was always that fear of getting hurt and I would always end up pushing myself too hard to keep up with the class. And one of the things I remember talking about when we had our phone consultation is that I can barely touch my toes. I'm a big girl. I have curves. I'm a big girl. I'm short. And I just had all those challenges
Yeah,
that I was afraid, like, it's like, I'm not going to waste your time if this is something that this challenge, you can't take this on. And I just, there was no making sure I got the moves right. There was no positive reinforcement. There was no mantras. There was no positive thinking. It just wasn't anything like this experience has been. These 5 weeks have been so amazing in terms of how I think positively and how I think about my body now. There's like, I don't look at myself in the mirror anymore and feel bad about what I see because I now see myself as a work in progress, which is something that I've
mm,
never really done before.
that's amazing.
So even the ladies that come in here, yes, they can do more than I, but I feel like we're a team. I don't feel like I'm competing against
Yeah.
somebody. You make us all feel like we're together. And that has just been the thing that has keeping me coming back. Even like today, would it be an open studio? I'll have my little questions, and I make sure, like, if it was a move or something that I needed a little bit more clarification on, you've always made sure I can get it right. And you made sure that it's like, okay, it's all right. It's coming.
Yeah.
you know use this block, use the straps, put this under your feet, put this under your head, put this over your eyes. It's just something. I feel like I'm the only person in the class that takes all of the equipment off your wall, but that's okay. I'm slowly putting them all back.
I
So
love that. I love that you're, yeah, that, thank you. Thank
yeah.
you for appreciating that. Cause that, yeah, I think that's a different experience. I mean, I think it's definitely very rewarding to hear you speak like that, because that's definitely how I want people to find their
Hmm.
own yoga, and that's kind of
Yeah.
what you're talking about. Find your own relationship, your own unity,
Hmm.
and go with it. And I love that you feel that we're creating that in the
Hmm.
room here, and that's really what I wanted out of the sangha. I think, or learning community, the training community, which I think is somewhat lacking. I mean, you've got the cool people in the
Hmm.
schools or the
Hmm.
studios or whatever,
Hmm.
but it doesn't necessarily always welcome everybody in. So I really appreciate that you're saying that. So what have you learned about yoga you didn't know 5 weeks ago?
Well, what I didn't know about yoga 5 weeks ago is that, it's a process. It's not something that you're going to get overnight. And I've learned patience with myself. I've learned to just take my time with things. Um, the breathing and just being calm, the way I react to things now are different. I feel like my stress levels are a little
Oh,
bit
that's
different.
awesome.
I do. I just feel different. I don't know if it's just the fact that you're doing something physically with your body. Like, I've worn clothes that I would never have worn, not because they looked bad, but because I didn't feel comfortable in my skin. I'm feeling more comfortable in my skin. And I will say to anybody, you know, um, like, this whole thing is very impromptu right now. I will just tell anybody, if you are even thinking about just trying it, even if this doesn't turn out to be your tribe where you come to hang out and get your zen, your place of peace, it's worth it to try to find wherever that is. And this is a
Mm.
great place to try to figure that
Great,
out.
great
Yeah.
advice, because
Mhm.
that is really it, right? You got to
Mhm.
try it
Mhm.
and know and see the contrast, right? I don't
Yes.
like this,
Yeah.
so then you're closer to what you do like.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes when you never try
Mhm.
anything, you end up saying it's too overwhelming. I don't even
Yeah.
know what I want,
Yeah.
and this is a process of
It's a
elimination, like you
process.
like you
Yeah, it's just a
said.
process. Because to me, I
Yeah.
thought the 2 week trial is like, you did the 2 week trial, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go. It's not gonna be. Then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm signing up.
Thank you,
Yeah, I was
Alicia.
like, oh my gosh, I'm signing up, and I've been coming back. I've made an effort, and which is something that I've not done in a long time. Make an effort to come to class. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's a great
Oh yeah.
testimonial, because
Mhm.
and I'm not going to say, oh, it's the way I teach, but
Mhm.
I think it's the when you can bring the yoga to the person and they can
Mhm.
connect it to themselves, all of a sudden, from what I'm hearing from you, it's like you are the testimony of how that changes something in the person,
It really
the
does.
perspective, or
Mhm.
yes, you are burning some calories, or
Yes.
yes, you're finding new muscles, you're toning or whatever, but it's that change in attitude
Mhm. It
that is this
is.
special.
It
I mean, with all the exercise I've ever done, did personal training, athletic training, physical therapy, and this, it's that thing. It's that thing, that magic or something that
yeah.
turns on in the person
Mhm.
that makes my job
It
easier.
tell
So
you, you open yourself up to us. And so, and it's almost like you already getting to know who we are. I could tell you, like, after yoga class, I don't even want like junk food to eat. Like, I
ah.
want like healthy stuff. Like, I want a carrot. Like, I want some salad. It's like, it's like I do it something like after yoga class. I don't do a whole lot of eating. I mean, I'll eat something, but I'll make sure
Yeah,
it's like fruit, or maybe, like a salad or
right.
something very healthy, because it's like the way all that hard work. no, I don't want to go have a burger. Not that I
Right.
don't eat burgers,
Right.
but not after yoga class. I
Yeah,
won't have a
and
burger.
some of that is, but it's true. It's some of it is,
Mhm.
purposefully. One of the things, and I really appreciate my teachers that taught me this. It's learning how to change the vibration
Mhm.
in the room and for the person, and you're literally vibing differently.
Mhm.
You're literally conditioning yourself through that, and you're vibrating at a higher level. So that's what you're saying. When you lose that desire, or let me say it this way, uh, who here hasn't been like, frustrated and angry? I know I do this when I'm
Mhm.
frustrated, angry, or I feel like I deserve this. All of a sudden, I
Mhm.
want the cookie. I want a crunch. I want a this or that.
Yeah.
But it's really an outlet of this emotional body. I know
Yeah.
you were reading the new Earth
New Earth.
or whatever,
Yeah,
talking
Eckhart
about the big
Tolle.
pain body,
Yes,
and
the
that's
pain
really
body.
what you're feeding. And I'm always
Yes.
telling I'm always saying, I really think we've gotten to the point where we really understand the pain conversation, the chronic pain conversation, and I'll mix in inflammation there with that, and the addiction conversation and stress conversation. It's all the same
Mhm.
conversation, because
Mhm.
the behaviors that you do that hurt you in those processes all come from,
Mhm.
like what you're saying, this desire,
Mhm.
or
To
not
want to
having
do
the
better.
control, and kind of defaulting into the easy way
Yeah.
out, and all of a sudden another way becomes easy that you used
Yeah.
to think is hard.
And I
So
tell you what, for me, something as simple as walking down the flight of stairs in my house was a challenge for me. Okay. And so I'll just put my stats out there. I'm 50 years old. I'm about 245 pounds. So walking down the flight of stairs in the morning was always a challenge.
yeah.
And so even at work, walking down the stairs in the hospital, I was gripping those bars like nobody's business, and it was like pain. But you kind of just do it where nobody can see. But now I'm doing it. Of course, I'm not saying I'm flying down the stairs, but I'm consciously aware that it doesn't hurt as much, and that I can walk with. Before I knew it, I realized I hadn't even grabbed onto the handlebars, like onto the railing to go down the stairs. So I'm measuring my accomplishments like that.
Perfect.
Not like,
Yeah.
not like, oh my gosh, I can touch my
Right.
toes with my heel,
Right.
no, and not
Right.
that way,
Well,
but
it's
little
like you don't
things.
have to touch your
Yeah.
toes and your
Yeah.
head
Uh-huh.
while you're
Right.
coming down the stairs at work. Like, it's not practical. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the thing, right? Like, if you're
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, I'm going to yoga class
Mhm.
every day so that I could,
Yeah.
bend backwards and put my
Yes.
foot on my head."
No.
You
Who
Are we
does
gonna
that?
exactly,
Yeah.
like, are you gonna begin Cirque du Soleil? I mean,
Right.
where are you working towards? But
Exactly.
it's making those little
Mhm.
impacts, because
It's
this is all
little
about the
things.
energy we're putting. The less
Yes.
energy I have to put to that, the more I have it for the stuff I want, the yummy
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
And that's really where you start to
Yeah.
kind of, it's all about energy exchange.
Yeah.
It's not really like I don't have
Mhm.
the time. It's like, oh, I don't have the energy,
Mhm.
you know?
It's hard. It can be really hard, but it is so worth it. It is so worth it. I was just telling Dr. Lisa that I did my first downward dog, like from the cobra position. And granted, the other girls could do it more than once because it was like a process, up and down, up and down. But I did that first one. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I never thought I would be that
Right.
person.
And we're talking about what, 40 days?
Yes.
40 days, guys. Can you make a commitment for 40 days to it? And
Yes.
it's not like she was here every day at 40 days.
No,
You know,
no. Now I
although
missed the
she's been
Thursday.
diligent, Tuesdays
Yes.
and Thursdays and some
And some
Saturdays.
Saturdays. Saturdays.
So
Yep.
yeah, you do have to do the work,
Yes.
but
It was definitely worth it.
yeah, and I
Hmm.
and I thank you so much for talking a few minutes, because I think, we can talk all we want to experts, and we can read the research but it's this conversation
Hmm.
that matters,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, it
It's
does.
real
It's
people
real people talking and
talking and expressing their story, so that other people who can see themselves in that person.
yeah. I tell you, I'm the one person that never thought I would be able to even possibly and inspire somebody, but I was that person sitting in the bed, as a matter of fact, scrolling through my Facebook feed, and there was her post. Is there anybody out there that might want to try, yoga? And, I went to the website, and when I started doing a little bit digging, it was like, is that possible? Nah, can't be. I was very reluctant. And then I was like, wait a minute, she does it at her home studio. Okay, I'm not sure. And all of those fears ended up being casted aside. I can't even imagine not doing it now.
Right. But
Can't
they're
imagine.
there because you got that ego kind of like
Mhm.
things you can't
Mhm.
do. Trying to
Oh
thinking
yeah.
it's trying to help you.
Yeah.
Thinking it's trying to protect you.
Protect me.
But yeah, but there is all the logic like, ooh, I don't like the place it's at, or
Mhm.
ooh, I don't know, I probably can't do this, or ooh, but
Yeah.
you really only know. I mean, if you got something big to do in the world, you better
Yeah.
start with the first step
Yeah.
like that.
And now it's like I'm so worth it. I'm so worth it. I am so worth the time and
Love what
effort.
you're saying.
I'm
I
so
am
worth it.
so
I
worth
didn't
it.
always think like that. I didn't feel I was worth it. But now I'm just so feeling myself with I am so worth it. I'm so
Thank
worth
you.
it.
Thank you so much for
Yes.
talking because I think it's
Sure.
important. I have no idea what we're going to do with this video or whatever, but I
Yeah.
wanted to take a little bit of her because she just has such a great energy. And
Thank you.
I think she's probably, there's somebody out there that needs to hear her. So
Thank you.
hopefully
I
that
hope you
person
and hope
hears
it
you.
reached you. I hope you got something from it because I tell you, I was a major professional couch potato.
And if you need some advice
That's
about
it.
that, she's right
I'm your
there on
girl.
Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays.
Yes.
So yeah, so that BJ Yoga Club is really just yoga club in general, having that sangha. I was really hoping to welcome in. So if you are listening to this, if you do get this, if you are in the South Charlotte area, reach out to me via www.bellyguru.com. Get on the email list there. You'll get the podcasts and things that I do out in the regular world. But you can directly, if you feel up to it and strong enough, either through the Dr. Lisa Holland PT or the Facebook LLC Facebook page, or just directly go for it. Email me at info@bellyguru.com. Let's get you set up.
She responds. She does. You don't have to wait days. She will respond to you.
Like, let's just talk about it because looking at her right now makes me so happy I did this. And I really was like, should I do this?
I was that person.
I didn't know, but I felt a calling and I really,
You're
and
amazing,
it's like,
Dr. Lisa.
I just, the medicine, this is the Medicine Women Rising. You guys see me with that hashtag Medicine Women Rising. This is it. This is what we're doing. This is what us with our degrees and our certifications and whatever need to be doing. We need to be inspiring the medicine women that are out there in the community that don't realize who they are, because peer-to-peer conversations are so powerful. It's going to get them to the right people, specialist wise. It's going to get them doing the right things. It's going to coach them to, like, not worrying about it being who's on Facebook with the best Facebook ad or whatever, clickbait. I mean, to tell you the truth, it's exhausting. I don't want to keep up with that. So I'd much rather have somebody else who's experienced it talking with the right person. She'll know when she talks to somebody else who was her 5 years ago, when she's 5 years down the road. She will know that person much better than me with analyzing my metrics and my this or that. And so, I find you to be a blessing. So I thank you so much for taking a few minutes here and doing this little mini show.
It's amazing, you guys. Really take the time. Just come check it out. It's worth you checking it out.
You'll get to meet us and hang out with us. So if you're in South Charlotte, info@bellyguru.com. Let's talk. Let's do this, okay? Do not go through the summer without doing it.
Hope to see you guys.